So, David, I would like to sing a song a cappella because I think the message is so perfect. It's a Joni Mitchell song called Both Sides Now. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere.
So you know that I get a
Clouds
lot
that
of
wave.
letters with people who have stories. It seems like everyone has a story to tell, and I believe that. I believe that everyone has a story to tell. So I can't do everyone, but every once in a while I pick someone whose story I feel would help other people. And the person telling the story feels that way also. And so today I'm fortunate to talk with Erika, and she's had a challenging life, which you cannot see on her face, which seems to show no lines. So, Erika, what are you doing right now in your life? Where are you right now with these animals and what you're doing? What's it life now for you?
I, I, I'm rebuilding my life. I have given everything up. I bought another ranch. I've recuperated a few of the animals and horses, dogs, and cats that I had previously. And I'm trying to kind of place together why I've repeated patterns over and over and over in my life, where you think you've learned the lessons, you think you've emancipated, and then suddenly you make another decision and everything crashes down. And it seems it almost crashes down worse every time, as if the universe is trying to tell you, wake up, learn, move forward. You're repeating things again.
What happened that caused you to have these challenges?
My earliest recollection of serious abuse was at 3, which is when I was crying and she'd beat me without stopping and drag me across the room and tell me I was demonic. And there was definitely a separation where I was pegged differently. And what was really interesting was my brothers and sisters seemed to kind of go along with it. Like suddenly it was like this divide and conquer where it's like the baby chick was getting pecked at. And I remember so many times feeling like I didn't belong. And at 7, I was already getting suicidal thoughts at 7. Yeah.
How did this feeling that you were different, separated, not enough affect your life, do you think?
Never being complimented, instead being insulted. And you start trying to chase love. Now you start trying to chase the compliments. And I knew early on that I would be in the entertainment field. Because of course you go to the movies or you watch TV and suddenly now you're in fantasy land and you say, okay, I want to be famous. That's the key. Now everyone's going to love me. And now I'm going to prove to my family I'm not horrible. So I want to be beautiful. I want my face, my body, everything to be as pretty as possible. So of course now you're looking at everything from the exterior, but you're having a huge void on the interior. And obviously, if you look at my pictures early on, I'm very wholesome looking and always smiling, and a very clean, wholesome smile. When I was modeling and everything, I was always very wholesome. And then all of a sudden, I go to Hollywood and I'm there within a few years. And of course, all the girls are getting Botox and surgeries and breast implants. And next thing you know, I'm sucked into that vortex. And I changed my face, my appearance. I get breast augmentation. I've had the breast removed when I was 50, and I've had my lips reduced after having everything plumped up. When I was 50, I decided to get everything removed. I would say that my journey of realizing it's not about how beautiful you are or anything. I mean, sure, it's great to be pretty. I mean, people treat you nice, but the truth of the matter is when I'm dressed in my dungarees and my work clothes and I have no makeup on, my hair's a mess, no one looks at me. They could care less who I am. I just look like some older woman, and you fade away. And in many ways, I prefer that because at least it's honest.
Beauty is a challenge. It distorts in my experience, women's relationship to everyone, how to deal with it, it overwhelms everything. What's your view of beauty as you've lived it? Because you've modeled, you've acted, you've sung as a singer, you've been in Hollywood, and now you take care of animals. How would you describe your own experience and for other women who still suffer with this supposed asset?
The exterior's like a rose. I mean, you'll have the fragrance and the beauty, and you blossom. And I mean, every young person is beautiful, whether they think so or not. I think it doesn't matter, chubby, freckled, big nose, missing teeth. I think everyone that's young is beautiful. It's like, how can you say a puppy's ugly? How can you say a flower's ugly or a tree is ugly? And living in the world that's been so driven by commercialism and materialism through magazines and movies and just money, and thinking that success is equated with beauty and talent and all this. And I can tell you for myself, I went down that road and I achieved what everyone told me I couldn't do, which was I was a professional model. I was a professional singer with CBS Records. I did commercials.
Are we going to settle this?
I'd go 10% on women's fall fashions.
You're a small timer, Mort.
Okay, 25% on fall, 65 spring and summer.
Good boy. I want 50% off bed and bath.
Fine, 50%.
Macy's Labor Day sale. Thousands of items, every department, through Monday. Save 20 to 65%.
Oh, and one more thing. What do you give me on rugs?
Make it special. Make it Macy's.
I did movies. I just anything I ever set my goals to, I did it. And I did it through my talent. It wasn't through sleeping with this person or getting nepotism or something through a friend. I really achieved everything through auditions and through my talent and my skill. But in the end, I felt empty. In the end, it felt like there was still this big hole inside of me. And every time I started rescuing animals, I started feeling a little bit of that child healing, because I really saw a piece of myself in that wounded animal or that abandoned animal.
Okay, this is Happy. We're walking through the house. We're gonna go outside. And I know little Happy's ready to go. There he goes. Oh, no, he's not gonna be able to make it. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 kitties all in one room. Kitty mayhem. Good boy. And Gustav. He's having breakfast. We're both kicking back. Right, Gustav? Good boy. That's my boy.
Animals are the most honest, sentient beings on the planet. They're angels. I really consider them angels. Their honesty is mind-boggling. I remember as a child, my hair would stand up if someone was dangerous. And that's kind of got desensitized. With animals, they never seem to lose that, you know, and especially horses. When you've wronged a horse, let me tell you something, they never forget. And I have not learned that with people. I can honestly say it's an ongoing process. It's probably my life's mission. But along with that, I think it ties back to the whole image thing that I thought I had to have in this world to be successful. I thought it was all about talent and beauty and everything. And now what's interesting, when I meet people, I don't tell them that I was a singer. I don't tell them that I was a model. I don't tell them that I did movies. I would rather that they just know me as someone that rescues animals and does basically ranch work. But, you know, and I think when I was in Hollywood and pursuing acting, I had just walked right into a few situations where I was raped twice. And that really scarred me. But I was also, when I won a beauty pageant when I was 17, I was drugged and raped by the MC. And in the morning, told me that he would kill me and my family if I ever said anything. So I never made more pageant appearances. I never told anyone. And I did typically what an abused person does, which is just shut up and you don't want to tell anybody, you know.
That's disgusting. Those people are disgusting. The damage they did to you was disgusting. Thinking beauty has power is sad because to some extent it does. It does. I mean, in women particularly, I can see in the workplace women being treated differently if they look differently.
If you're in it long enough, things are going to happen. Now, what's interesting is in the beginning, it was like I would never fathom showing a breast or anything like that. I don't know how, but after being in Hollywood and being around so many girls that, you know, were fooling around with bisexuality and everything, which was beyond me. I mean, I was a Midwestern girl from Wisconsin. I never even thought of things like that. And I go to Hollywood and these girls are bragging about how many guys and girls they've slept with. And at first you're in shock, and then after a while you start getting used to it. And then next thing you know, you're doing a photo session showing your breasts. Then next thing you know, they're offering you a B movie part that they say, okay, you're not going to see much, you know, side profile, but you'll be nude. And you're like, okay, well, I could use the insurance. And now you start really lowering your standard where you said before you would never, ever do it. And with every single choice you make like that, it just seems like your soul gets a little bit lost or clouded over. And then next thing you know, I remember when I broke my CBS contract, I was raped by the producer. And I didn't know about attorneys or getting my residuals or anything like that. I just broke the contract, so I lost everything. And the album was doing well. I had like 3 #1 hits on the chart. And I opened up Madison Square Garden for Jose Jose. And I hit a market which was not tapped yet. I mean, Gloria Estefan and things like that. So I didn't know what I had when I had it. So, you know, you get scared because the thought of being homeless is scarier than mud wrestling. So I remember when I started mud wrestling, it was at the Hollywood Tropicana. That was probably the most damaging because now I was around girls that did everything. You know, I mean, they did everything from, you know, drugs, prostitution, foul language, you name it. And I was around it every night. And I think that desensitized me the most. But there was also another part of me that started feeling like, okay, this feels like I'm wearing the hat that I was always told I was, which was I was worthless, I was ugly, I was dirt, you know. And then somehow I thought, well, maybe I don't deserve success. Maybe this is all I deserve. And, you know, that's when I got my breast implants. That's when I got lip injections. That's when I started swearing. That's when I started fooling around more. And I think that also had a backlash from being raped, you know, or molested.
Did you rescue yourself in a moment, like an epiphany? Or how did you pull yourself out of that place and get to the place you are now, where your gentleness shows, your kindness shows, and you're with animals? It's quite beautiful.
I think that after you've been in a snake pit for so long, you want to just breathe fresh air again, and you go back to nature, because nature is, I think, what we all eventually go back, like ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I think that our spirit is here to learn. And I think that there's nothing wrong with going and living an adventure as long as you never forget who you are. Because I think at the core, when you die and you take your last breath, you are the only one that can forgive yourself for the choices you've made, you know. And if you've hurt people or whatever you've done, that you've got to live with the choices you've made, the people you've been with, the careers or whatever. And this goes to people that You know, right now, as you know, on the internet, I mean, pornography is rampant, drugs are rampant, everything. And the young ones that are falling into these little booby traps thinking it's exciting, I think there's going to come a point where they're going to realize it's getting them nowhere, and they're eating up their beautiful body and their beautiful energy, and their soul is just spinning out of control, like going down a sink or a toilet.
You're telling me this story on a morning, sun is out. We're being brave, you and I. And why are you doing this? And what do you hope comes from it for you and for other people who are watching?
I think for me, the reason I'm putting this out there, and really honestly, I almost backed out of this 50 million times. I really did. I can't tell you how many times I almost wanted to write you and say, you know what, there's probably other people you should interview, not me. But I'll tell you, suicide is a very serious thing. And Lord knows that I've toyed with that thought many, many times. Because when your own family rejects you, and when you feel that you've never really fit into society, yes, I'm accepted by animals. Yes, I can get along in nature in the mountains. And I lived in the mountains for 17 years with very little contact with people. And I got to tell you, I do it. I mean, I'm putting it out there because I just know that the world is loaded with addictions and loaded with suicide and a lot of lonely people. You can be in a family, you can be in a marriage, but you can still be really, really lonely. And suicide's not the answer. Drugs are not the answer. Numbing it up is not the answer. I remember when I've made some of the stupidest mistakes where I've lost everything. I was in another relationship where a guy went into my line of equity in my house and took out $400,000, one clean swoop. And I couldn't believe it. And turned out he was in mafia. So he threatened to kill me and everything. And it was another one of those situations where I hid it. I didn't want to tell anybody what a bad situation I was in. And again, it was another one of those times where I was like, okay, do I fall into a pit of antidepressants or whatever, or drinking? And trust me, the thought was there to just drink myself to oblivion like my father did. You know, and I've got some of my siblings that I know got really wrapped up into antidepressants and relying on them. And I just think that that's not the answer.
That's beautifully said. And I agree. My experience is by being totally myself. There's no hidden self. There's just me. Life gets a lot simpler. And then I depend upon the people around me to be themselves. And my wife says maybe I'm too trusting, but it's never hurt me.
People that have known me sometimes will say, you know, you just got to let it go. You got to let it go. And I go, you know, I liken it to going, like our history going through the Holocaust. It's like saying you got to let go of the Holocaust. It never happened. The truth is, it's in our DNA. We know it happened. It lives in the DNA. You don't know how, like slavery, whatever. It's in there. And I got to tell you, I think there's an error sometimes in saying, forget the past, don't live in the past. I think it's embrace what's happened to you. It's tempered you. You know, it was there for a reason, and you can't let it break you. You have to let it actually purify you, like alchemy, and purify the gold, cold to a diamond. All the things that through pressure, there comes wisdom. There comes just a depth and a strength that you would never had if you had an easy life.
I want to thank you for doing this with me, for having the bravery, the courage. I do believe you are helping a lot of people because there's so much positive wisdom in what you're saying. Your experience is a negative one in the past, but the things you're saying are positive and loving and kind. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Well, God bless you for what you do. I think you're beautiful. And I wanted to reach out to you because your videos just spoke to me. So, David, I would like to sing a song, a Joni Mitchell song called Both Sides Now. It's about everything we've talked about today, about the extremes of life, and the journey we're all on. A beautiful song. I hope I can convey at least the emotion that it brings me when I listen to it. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. But now all friends are acting strange. They shake their heads and say I've changed. Well, something's lost and something's gained in living life every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. I really don't know life at all.